The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And boy, are we in for an interesting hour. The highly anticipated meeting expected to take place any minute inside the Oval Office. President Trump and the newly elected mayor of New York City, Mamdani, their first face-to-face sit-down. What's going to happen? Who knows? We will find out throughout the course of this hour. So if we can get live audio of the meeting, of course we will bring it to you. But a couple of points I want to deal with before we even get to that. One, you may recall that pro-life activist, right, that was in Harlem and she was sucker punched during a New York City interview. That incident that went viral, and District Attorney Alvin Bragg dropped the charges basically against the alleged attacker. Not basically, he did. Well, the victim, that woman, social media influencer, is now suing the attacker, and I say good for you. She must be held accountable in some fashion, and good for you. Even if you only collect $100, put her through the process of being forced to hire an attorney for thousands and drag her through the mud the same way she did to you on that street corner in Harlem. So we're going to get to the meeting in just a second. Dominic Carter here with you, 800-848-9222. The phone lines are open right now. We see all your calls coming in. We'll get to them momentarily. But I want to mention something that I noticed in Rockland County, where I lived the other day, and I was baffled, absolutely baffled. So I'm at McDonald's in New City, a place I shouldn't be, and I noticed this sign, and I had never seen anything like this before in my life. And it had the McDonald's logo, and it said EBT cards welcomed. So in other words, SNAP benefits, food stamps, to pay for fast food, to pay for McDonald's. I've never seen this before in my life. Where did this come from? How did this quietly get through Washington? Well, a bill has been filed by Senator Joni Ernest sounding the alarm that over $500 million has been spent on fast food across multiple states using SNAP benefits.
What we have found is that within the SNAP program, there is a way for certain states to apply for programs that allow those SNAP dollars to go to fast food restaurants. There are currently 9 states that allow that. And what we have found is in just the last 2 years, taxpayer dollars going into SNAP, those SNAP dollars of the amount of $524 million was spent on fast food. We know that we have health issues across the board here in the United States of America. Those SNAP dollars, and I'll remind everybody that the N in SNAP stands for nutrition, should not be going to fast food.
It's amazing. I had never seen something like that before in my life. At a local McDonald's in New City in Rockland County is an affluent community, and they're accepting EBT cards, SNAP, food stamps at McDonald's. Guess who's saying my bad on this Friday? Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. You know, folks, what AOC has, is it contagious in Washington? You know, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Is it contagious? Is it contagious that Jasmine Crockett, that her elevator doesn't go to the top floor? That whatever slogan you want to come up with, that it applies to her as well? Here's what I'm talking about. So Jasmine Crockett goes on a rant, right? And she says on the House floor this week, she's going to, quote, expose it all after her discovery that somebody named Jeffrey Epstein donated to the campaign of former Congressman Lee Zeldin, of course, of New York, that ran that good race for governor. that Jeffrey Epstein donated to Lee Zeldin, right? So it turns out you talk about egg on your face and making a fool of yourself. It turns out that it's actually a doctor, a neurologist that made the donation to the Zeldin campaign and not that Jeffrey Epstein. You talk about backpedaling. Listen to Congresswoman Haight on CNN.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that...
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
So, one, the Congresswoman is Googling. That's where she's coming up with her evidence. Two, she's not even doing any of the legwork. You just heard her say that her staff did it. Three, that simple Google search should have shown you that those donations were made months after Epstein died in a Manhattan jail cell. Can you say lawsuit? 800-848-9222. We see all of your calls. We're waiting for the meeting to actually get underway between the President of the United States and Mamdani. Set for this hour. Dominic Carter here with you. As I've been telling you folks, the moment that this became public about this meeting, that Mamdani is between a rock and a hard place in terms of dealing with the socialists that own him, and now he's got to be somewhat responsible. All of that nonsense he talked during the campaign is not going to fly. And so to all of you that voted for him and believed that he was going to deliver on, let's say, even just 30% of his agenda, it's never going to happen. And so this, in terms of Mamdani being between a rock and a hard place, this from the Fox News channel.
It's obvious that Zoran needs the money, and Trump has said he will basically bleed the city dry if he doesn't like the way things are going, that he would cut off federal funding. But Zoran has a lot of problems because he has promised the Democrat Socialists of America that he will not allow the police to work with ICE. Tish, the commissioner, has agreed to stay on, but she is a very principled person. And she has done a good job. Crime is down in New York City over the past 10 months. So she's not going to allow that to slip away from her. So he's in a rock and a hard place. He's got to figure out how he's going to maneuver all of this. And he learned quickly on the campaign trail, and he did well in the race. But he's got the Democratic Socialists are having these meetings saying, like, we own him. We own this guy, and we are not going to let him do whatever he wants. He is ours. So it's going to be, I think it'll be kind of funny if they get like the you're a commie, you're a fascist stuff, like right out at the beginning. I also just want to remind people of, go back and listen to Mamdani's acceptance speech on election night, the second half. And in it, he basically said, we will tear down the city that created everything that created Donald Trump. We will tear down the institutions that allowed him to succeed, which is basically dismantle capitalism in New York City, because that's what allowed Donald Trump to succeed. So, if the president, rewatch that, just like sort of let that sink in a little bit.
So it's going to be very, very interesting. So I do want to offer Mr. Mamdani some advice. If you don't know, you better know. What are you talking about, Dominic? If you don't know, maybe you should call Zelensky of Ukraine and ask him what's the proper decorum. We know you'll dress appropriately, but what's the proper decorum when you're before this president of the United States? Because if you act up, he will act up. This is what Eric Trump, his son, said prior to today's meeting.
I can tell you there's a lot of people who have gone into the White House before and, tried to make a scene and tried to have a big PR event, and I think most of the people got laughed out of it. I mean, we saw that with Zelensky, I think. I could probably name 25 people who went into the White House trying to be tough guys, and it didn't end up all that well for them. My father's, I think, performs probably better than anybody in that moment, but we'll see. I mean, my father loves New York. He cares about New York. He wants to see the best for New York, so he would have an open door, and I'm proud of him for having an open door. I don't think this is the right direction from New York. I hope this guy is a lot more bravado than he is real action, but we'll see tomorrow. And and again, this is Donald Trump at his best. If the guy wants to showboat, I think he'll showboat right back, and there's no one that does that better than the commander in chief, as you know better than anybody, Laura.
Was Eric Trump, and when Mamdani arrived at the airport in D.C., this is what happened.
Moments ago, New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani arrived in Washington, D.C., already being asked for selfies. That is ahead of today's meeting with President Trump. The president also making some news. He previewed the sit-down on Brian Kilmeade's radio show. He said it might be less hostile than people expect.
Well, I was hitting him a little hard, too, in all fairness. I don't know exactly what he means by turn the volume up, because turn the volume up, he has to be careful when he says that to me. I mean, he was very nice in calling, as you know, and we're going to have a meeting. I guess we meet at 3 o'clock today. And I think it's going to be quite civil. We'll find out. You'll be the first to know.
All right, folks, and you'll hear a bit later how the House passed a resolution condemning socialism. Let's begin with your telephone calls. Line 1, it says here, Mr. Stone in New Jersey, what's on your mind?
Dominic Carter, thank you for taking my call. I just want to tell you, I've been listening to you for 2 years. You've always been able to call BS like you know it to be. You always have this great ability to elucidate all the information you need for people to hear. If Rush Limbaugh were alive, he would say you're the next kingpin of radio in New York.
Wow, well, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you, and I hope that you're going to have a great weekend. Do something positive, and thank you for that wonderful call. Those great words, it means the world to me. Let's go to line 2. David, also in New Jersey. What's on your mind, David?
Good afternoon. I have a math question for you. This Mamdani is saying that New York City is unaffordable. You know the budget in New York is $115 billion, right?
Yo,
the budget in New York is $115 billion. If that's $115,000 million, so you break it down into millions.
David, I'm up against a break. What's the point you're trying to make?
Okay, divided by 8.5 million.
You can't divide it that way, David. That's ridiculous. What's the point you're trying to make? Quickly, please.
They're spending over $13 million per person in New York on the budget.
Well, you can't break the number. No, you can't break it down that way. Some of it is mandatory spending that the city has no choice with in terms of education dollars. You can't just say 115 billion divided by the citizenship. It doesn't work that way. But thank you for your call. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
Discover the extraordinary fragrance Ariana Grande REM Cherry Eclipse. Delight in black cherry jubilee, sugared honeysuckle, marshmallow meringue, and glowing amber. Get the perfect fragrance. Ariana Grande's REM Cherry Eclipse, exclusively at Ulta Beauty.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And And all eyes are on the Oval Office right now. We're monitoring the situation, waiting for, and it probably won't happen until later this hour. But if it does, we'll bring it to you live for Mamdani, the mayor-elect, to walk out as is the custom. Of course, the president does not come out and address the media. After these meetings occur, it's normally the interested party that comes out before the White House press corps. The president does not respond to any of this stuff, will be the case here. There may be a possibility of the president saying something later, or certainly his spokeswoman. We'll see what happens there. But as for the House passed a resolution before the meeting this hour. Guess what? Condemning socialism.
Just showing this from the Hill right now. This is a measure to condemn socialism. The vote is still being tabulated, but of note, the 4 leading Democrats in the House voted with Republicans to condemn socialism, yet 96 Democrats voted no. Mm-hmm. So those are the Democrats that voted with Republicans: Jeffries and Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar and Ted Lieu. So that vote is in, and the big meeting happens in a couple hours. White House with the Democratic Socialists out of New York meeting with President Trump today.
And that meeting happening right now. I would love to be a fly on the wall with a remote device that I could tell you play by play what was happening at that time. So I'm looking at your comments on Twitter, on my ex, the lovely Debbie Lebedo. Debbie says, Dom, I was at the supermarket and the computers went down, so no cards of any kind could be used, including EBT cards, and I was so shocked at those who had them. Well dressed and fabulously accessorized. We need to have these people reapply and qualify. We pay for them. You are so right, Debbie. Now, I hope this doesn't come off as me sounding like a snob. When I'm in the supermarket, I don't necessarily care if someone before me is using the EBT card. You know, people get down on their luck. My family was once one such family. What gets me, and maybe I'm a little touched here, what gets me is not only am I paying and you're not, but I got to stand here and wait forever with you with all your products, all the type of products you want, basically. I mean, of course there are limits. And I got to wait until you're done when I'm paying and you're not. That's the part that gets me. Let's see here. Let's go back to your telephone calls here. Let's see. Let's go to Larry, line 2, Tampa Bay, Florida. What's on your mind, Larry?
Hi, Mr. Carter. I was just thinking that the leaders, so-called leaders, Captain Kelly and the like, who suggested that Trump issued illegal orders, would be a lot less criminally culpable if they had limited to specific situations, because by leaving it up to...
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. You said Captain Kelly. I don't know.
Mark Kelly, the astronaut.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Where if they would have limited it to specific situations that Trump is supposedly having issued illegal orders, they'd be less culpable, because leaving it over to subject to interpretation of the individual service members suggests that Trump issues illegal orders.
Right. You know, I got to be straight with you. I got to get him up on that situation right now. I'm all White House meeting Trump and Mamdani.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And at this hour, we are waiting for Mamdani to walk out of the White House and address the cameras and the microphones that await him. It is not a custom for the president to come out, so the president's not going to come out. His spokeswoman or the president himself may have something to say a bit later on. And of course, we are on it. We are monitoring this situation. I got to tell you, folks, before we go back to your telephone calls, I see a tweet here from Nikki. Nikki, we hope you're well. We hope your daughter's doing well. I got to tell you, folks, it's a win for me on two fronts. Tomorrow morning on Saturday, I am so looking forward to coming to Harlem, to the Harlem PAL Center. Normally I'm there for their Christmas parties, but it's a win-win for me because I've talked about the fact that I grew up a PAL kid myself, literally out of the Bronx, played chess on the citywide PAL team. The PAL fed us during the summer camps when my family didn't have food. We had the green bags, the little tote bags, and the T-shirts. They gave us 2 T-shirts for summer camp. It was really remarkable. So I will be there at the PAL Center with our owners, Margot and John Katsimatidis, what they do annually in terms of passing out turkeys to families in need. And we'll have much more on this. But I'm so looking forward to this Saturday morning. I and many of my colleagues will be in Harlem, and we hope to meet some of you there. It will be quite the interesting time, and I learned a long time ago, seriously, folks, it's always better to give, to see the joy for others than to receive. I'd rather give than receive each and every time. So Nikki says, good afternoon on Twitter, on my ex at Dominic TV. Nikki says, good afternoon, Dominic. I am hoping that Dr. Jeffrey Epstein and Lee Zeldin sue the wig off of but wait, does she still have on a wig? I thought she lost the wig of Congresswoman Hate. That's my word, Congresswoman Hate. Nikki didn't say that, but of Representative Jasmine on the grounds of slander and libel. They will make sure that she will never work again and make an example out of this hyena. That's what Nikki says. The only problem is all parties involved are public figures, which means, generally speaking, it's almost impossible to prove liable. You have the EPA now EPA secretary. He's a public figure. You have Jasmine Crockett, a public figure. But wait a minute, Nikki, maybe you're right, because the doctor is not a public figure. So the impossible laws in proving malice does not apply to him because he is not a public figure. So he could sue and win. You are making a great point. Now, most of us, after putting your foot in your mouth the way Jasmine Crockett did, Congresswoman Hate, most of us would go crawl under a rock for at least a few days. No, not Jasmine Crockett. What's she doing now? She resorts to her ace in the hole, race and racism. She's now claiming, I want you to listen to this. She is claiming that the president of the United States is trying to do away with the official term of white supremacy. And she's claiming that whites are now randomly lynching blacks in the South. And she attributes this to President Trump.
They not even going, honestly, they're about to outlaw the idea of white supremacy and white hate. Like, they are about to be like, oh, that's not a thing. Forget the fact that you're talking about getting rid of, like, the classification for nooses in a time in which we have seen these random black bodies be strung up down south. Also, seemingly at a time in which you're back in office, because what you do is you embolden the hate. You embolden everybody to take off their hoods. That is what he has done. He is the one that is producing this violence. Listen.
Okay, so we're looking at right now, folks, a picture of Mom Donnie. Cannot believe this, standing next to the President of the United States. We are awaiting audio, and I believe that I've just been told in my headset that we have it. Is that the case? Okay, let's go live now to the Oval Office and the White House.
Well, thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for Mayor-elect.
Sure.
For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Can you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question. And on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, from MTV Lebanon.
Good.
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the independent state in Lebanon. And what is your next move to push toward disarmament?
Sure. Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to $2 trillion or $1 trillion, it's a lot. We have $20 or $21 trillion. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now for the first time peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is the potential to invite the Lebanese president.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm
1 in 10.
And I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President. You threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, from BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect. You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though. And I just wondered to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focused on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices because, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. If we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for up to $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, I think they have some big energy problems. They've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods.
And so remarkable, you are listening live right now from the Oval Office to the President of the United States, and I cannot believe what I'm listening to, what I'm hearing from Mamdani the mayor-elect of New York City, standing right to the president's right. And this is what I try and explain to you folks all the time. It's one thing in a campaign, but politics makes for strange bedfellows. You see two men appearing, they have strong differences, but at least for this one meeting, appearing in unison, not backing up of their criticism of each other, but stating they both want peace in the Middle East and that they will even work out their differences on ICE. We are going to take a break, and we are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And on this Friday, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day. I cannot believe what I am looking at live right now. This man, when he started this race, 33 years old. Mamdani! Now the mayor-elect of New York City, standing to the right of the President of the United States, a Democrat socialist that the President himself has described as a communist. And right now we're looking at a kumbaya moment. Both men are putting on massive displays of diplomacy. The news conference, the briefing is still going on live right now with the President in the Oval Office, Mamdani standing to his right. The President is seated, that is, behind the Oval Office desk. Mamdani is standing to his side. The President wearing a power red tie. Mamdani wearing a blue tie, his hands crossed. And Mamdani's continuing to talk. And I think that you get the gist of what's being said. They're stating that they agree on making life affordable in New York City. They met. Neither man backing up from their criticism. The media holding them accountable on that. They both stated, I found this interesting, Mr. Mamdani, who's made some comments that are borderline anti-Semitic, in fact, anti-Semitic. They're now stating they both want peace in the Middle East and that they will also work out their differences on ICE. I don't think so, because the President is going to send in the A-team. Mamdani is going to posture, and they're going to be at war with each other. Let's finish the show with a couple of your telephone calls. Let's go to Mike in Yonkers, line 5. Mike, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, thanks for taking my call. Back to Jasmine and those that were accused of taking donations from a pedophile and pretty much putting that around their necks. They should collectively get together and state that they're going to sue her. And you got to stop that type of nonsense.
You're correct. You're correct, Mike. You really are. She's reckless. And Mike, what I'm thinking about, this is why when people say, "Oh, he went to law school," so what? I was accepted to law school. Going to law school doesn't make you a genius. It just means that you know how to apply yourself to take the LSAT and to get admitted. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you're some rocket scientist. But I do want to know, and thank you for the great call, Mike, I do want to know what law school let Jasmine Crockett in? This woman worked as a prosecutor, and you got on the floor of the House and made this reckless charge as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein when it wasn't the pedophile that made the donation to Zeldin. It was a neurologist doctor. And the callers, you are correct. He really should sue her to stop people from being this reckless. Let's go to our friend Sandra, line 2, New Jersey. Sandra, what's on your mind?
Wow, I just want to say, Dominic, Donald Trump continues to amaze me with his class, his charm. He knows how to get along with everyone. You end up loving him when you leave. I'm not saying it's going to last, but he keeps his friends close and his enemies closer. I just, also noticed that he was treated with respect today so far. I mean, it's still going on by the reporters, unlike how that Saudi crown prince was treated the other day. So we're being nice, I would think.
Right. Well, let me just say this, Sandra, especially at the White House press corps. It is our job, and I'm short on time. I only have 30 seconds left to the show. We come up with the toughest questions that we know that the elected official can't answer. That's our job, to keep them off their feet. But it's the tone. You don't have to be nasty about it. Respect the institution of the presidency of the United States. I would say it if Clinton's in office. I'd say it if Obama's in office, if Bush is in office, if Trump is in office. Respect the office. Folks, I want you to have a great weekend. I am so looking forward to coming to Harlem tomorrow to pass out the turkeys with our owners, John and Margot Katsimatidis. Folks, all it takes is $11 a month. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?